the way I started riding my bike was back, I believe I was in kindergarten. At the time we lived at an apartment complex, and we had just family members living. I had an uncle living upstairs. I believe it was a three-floor apartment complex. So I had cousins, and it was just always fun because it was just growing up with cousins, right? I was one of the youngest. I think one of my cousins, my cousin Abby, she was my age, so me and her were the youngest. And my cousin Abby had older brothers, right? They were older than me, older than my sister. And so at the time it was just me and my sister, the perfect family. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so it was just me and my older sister, and I would always see my older cousins riding their bikes and riding skateboards and, rollerblading and just doing all these things, and I always wanted to do that, right? But I didn't have any of that. And so I would always tell my dad that I wanted a bike. I wanted a bike and I wanted a bike. And so one day, my aunt was gonna throw my cousin Janet's bike away, right? She was on, I guess my cousin had already outgrown it or something, I don't know. And it was a pink bike. It was a small pink bike. And I remember my dad telling me, you know what? I guess he saw it I don't know how he ended up getting the bike. But anyways, the point is that he grabbed the bike and he told me, Diego, if you learn how to ride this bike, I will buy you a bike, right? And so I didn't care that the bike was pink, whatever. I just wanted a bike. So I got on that bike and I just started riding it, on my own. I fell a couple of times, and I got a few scratches here and there until I learned how to ride the bike. And that's how I got my first bike, right? So we fast forward, right? And during the vacation time in Mexico, while we're in Michoacan visiting family and whatnot, I had a bike over there. And having a bike in Mexico is different than having a bike here in Chicago. In Mexico, you ride your bike everywhere. There's a lot of potholes, and sometimes your back brake doesn't work, so you gotta put your feet down and you gotta just go through the gravel and just hope your shoes don't wear out before your bike stops. Or sometimes you gotta make sure you don't forget that you only have the front brake, and on the downhill, press on that front brake because then you'll flip, right? But anyways, in order for this story to make sense, in Mexico, where I come from, there's no sidewalk, so we actually ride our bikes on the street. And when there's no cars, you ride your bike. You can ride your bike in the middle, right in the middle of the street or wherever you want, because there's no cars coming. So, anyways, I'm going down this hill, and all of a sudden, on the curve, I do the curve, but I didn't see there was a small pothole, maybe probably this big. And on that, as I curve my steering wheel, my front wheel goes into the pothole and it flips. It just flips me over, and I fall. I guess I did injure myself. I fell, and I don't know what I hit my knee on, but all I know is that I had a big hole in my knee. I believe it might have been a rock on the floor. It might have been the middle part of the handlebars or something. I'm not 100% sure, but I ended up hitting my knee, hit my head, and I'm just I'm on the floor. I'm just in pain. And the funny part is, I remember there was this old lady. She was coming, she was walking towards me, and then she's like, "Are you okay?" And then I'm like, "Yeah." Went inside, I already wanted to cry because I was really, really in pain. So I get up and I grab my bike, and I remember, this is the funny thing, is that she said, "See, this is why bikes are demon things." And I was like, "What is she talking about?" But whatever. So I grab my bike and I do the walk of shame home. I'm limping and I'm, dragging my bike on the side, and I get home. And then, I get home, my mom sees that I'm bleeding, and then she starts curing me with alcohol, the Mexican way. They just throw alcohol in your wound. So that was kind of painful. So we fast forward, right? And this next story, it might be, in retrospect, I think it was a little bit of my loss in peripheral vision, right? So, you'll understand why. But part of it was my distraction. So I was a freshman in high school, and I remember it was maybe the second week of high school or whatnot, and I'm riding my bike to the park, and I'm on my way to the park, and I'm on the right, let's say I'm on the left side of the street, and I'm riding my bike, and at the time I could see, so I'll be looking around, whatever, and I noticed that there's these two girls walking on the right side of the street, right? And I'm kind of like looking at them because I kind of recognize them from school. You know, I'm a freshman in high school, and you know, I'm trying to know people, and I'm like, I think I know those two girls, right? Yeah, you know, they were kind of cute, you know, so I was like, kind of like looking at them, hoping that they would look at me and maybe recognize me, and maybe I could wave and say hi, I don't know, you know, boys. So I'm looking to the other side. So as, you know, right as they turn around to look at me and I sort of wave a little bit, they smile, right? They're smiling. When all of a sudden, bam! What happened? I went face first into a bus stop.
I crashed into one of these. That's a bus stop here in Chicago.
So I guess I didn't see it at all through my peripheral vision. And so right when I turned around, my front wheel was already like about to hit the thing, the glass. So it hit the glass and it picked my bike up, and I went face first into the glass, and I hit my manly parts on the handlebars, and I fell off the bike, and I was so embarrassed that I did not turn around to see the girls anymore. I just picked up my bike again, did the walk of shame to the side, like pretending like nothing happened, and then I did a turn on the next street, and I stayed there for a little bit, just in pain, and just, you know, just trying to like recompose myself. But that was embarrassing. And again, that did not stop me from riding my bike. I still kept riding my bike, although it was embarrassing, but it makes for a great story. So we move forward, and like I mentioned in my video, I began to lose my vision in 2009, right? So 2009 was the summer. So that junior year was 2009, 2010. That junior year, I still used my bike. I was still able to use it pretty well. I don't remember anything particularly happening. So then we move forward, senior year. So in 2010, I am noticing a little bit of, you know, more change in my vision, but you know, I still don't care. I'm still holding on to whatever I can, right? So I'm like, no, I'm still gonna play. I mean, I'm still gonna ride my bike. I already lost playing soccer. At the time, I had already stopped playing soccer, and I was like, no, I need to be able to ride my bike, right? It's how I get to places. You know, if I can't drive, I'm gonna have to be able to get my bike and ride places, right? So I believe three things happened, right? Three things happened that senior year. Number one, I was riding my bike. I had just left my house. I started riding my bike. I believe I was going to the park, and on an alley, I didn't see the car coming, and the car hit me. The car just hit my bike. It hit my back wheel though, so it wasn't really too bad, but it hit my back wheel, and obviously, you know, it disoriented me, but obviously it just, you know, flipped me a little bit to the side, and I fell. I did have a few bruises and scratches, but nothing major. My bike was okay. And so yeah, the driver got off, you know, made sure I was okay, but you know, I guess it was my fault because I didn't see the car. But anyways, so you know, that happened. You know, that was a red flag, but it was at the same time, it was also me being stubborn and me trying to hold on to this, right? So I was like, no, fuck it, you know, maybe it was his fault, didn't see me, kept riding my bike. I actually got to the park, you know, did whatever I had to do, came back home, didn't tell my parents, didn't tell anybody, right? Fast forward a few days later or whatnot, I'm riding my bike, and how I mentioned in one of my other videos, when you have RP, it's hard for you to adjust from going from like sunny to shade, right? So I was riding my bike, and I was in the street, I was going down the sidewalk, when all of a sudden I ran my bike into a opened gate, right? There was a gate that was left open, so it covered most of the sidewalk, one of those black bar gates, and I was going pretty fast, and I ran into the gate, and my wheel went in between two of the, well, obviously it didn't go in because it has like a bar at the bottom, but it kind of went in, and I basically crashed into the gate. The gate kind of swung closed, but at the same time, it also, I had already hit the gate, so I did hurt myself a little bit. My bike, I fell off my bike. Again, it did not stop me from riding my bike. I just, you know, got up, you know, brushed myself off. I was mad, but I just, you know, kept going. I was like, you know, like, it didn't stop me. You know, again, it should have been another red flag. We fast forward. So it's 2011, the beginning of summer. It's starting to get, it's really nice outside, you know. And so I decided to go meet some friends at the school, after school. So I can't remember why I went, but anyways, it's not important. But anyways, I get on my bike and I started heading towards the school. So I guess two things happened here. I'm pretty close to the school, maybe like a block or two away. And so I'm riding my bike, and all of a sudden I need to go through this, I guess, through this part of the sidewalk that's just full of shade. There's a lot of trees and it's just full of shade. And I hear that there's water, like I hear like a sprinkler, right? That's all I hear. Like I hear water going onto the grass, and I'm assuming it's a sprinkler because I can't see, and so I'm just going, right? I just keep going. I do slow down a little bit, but not too much, right? Just a little bit, just to kind of like in case, you know, I don't want to go through the water, which happens a lot. But anyways, so I'm slowing down, and all of a sudden, like out of just the corner of my eye, like a lady appears, and I'm able to see the lady, and I swing my handlebars to the side, and I run myself into the fence, and I just wham, I just go into the fence, and I hurt myself. And luckily I didn't hurt the old lady. It was an old lady. I felt so bad because I was like, man, I could have hurt her really bad. Like my handlebar literally like maybe scraped her side or something. I can't remember, but I ran into the fence. You know, she was like, "Are you okay?" You know, like I don't know if she thought it was her fault or whatnot, but I was like, "No, you know, it's my fault. I'm sorry. You know, I wasn't paying attention." Reality, I had no idea she was there. I thought it was a sprinkler. Yeah, I hurt myself, but I wasn't worried about that. I was more worried about the old lady. I didn't even make it to the school. I just turned back around. I rode my bike back slowly, and I remember that day getting into my house. I walked with my bike, and as I was putting it away in the garage, you know, I was also thinking, you know what, I think this is the last time I ride a bike. You know, like a lot of things have happened. You know, I've been lucky in some instances, and at that moment, you know, in 2011 is when I was like, I can't ride bikes anymore. You know, like it's, you know, for the longest, I've always had this idea where it's like, I don't care if I get hurt, you know, blah, blah, you know, if it happens to me, it's fine, you know, whatever. But rather, you know, like, you know, I'm realizing like, man, you know, I can hurt other people, you know, I can, and that's not what I want. So it was sad. It was a sad moment to know that I'm not gonna be able to ride my bike like that anymore, right? So it was a sad moment. Again, I don't share these things with my family. You know, it wasn't like I got home and I told my mom, you know, I almost hit a lady, or you know, I'm not riding my bike anymore. I just knew for myself that was it. I left my bike there. I guess my older siblings used, I mean, my younger siblings used it, but I no longer use my bike. And you know, that was the end of that. In that instance, so it was a sad moment. Oh, look who came to visit. It's my dog. Come here, come here. Say hi to the camera. Say hi over there. Come here. No, get down, get down, get down, get down. Come here, come here. No, not over here, no. Come here, bate. Get down, get your ass down. Get down, what are you doing? Sit. Alright, go over there. Anyways, yeah, he's not allowed to be in the couch. I don't know, he went crazy. I guess he's shy in front of the camera. Anyways, but we fast forward to my year of grad school, right? So now it's 2016, and so I'm in grad school, and you know, I met a friend. His name was Zach. If Zach's watching this, what's up, Zach? And Zach, my other friend Lisette, and my other friend Carlos, and myself, we would have this the same class, right? It was the second semester, so it was like around springtime, something like that. So we would have the same class, and we would always get out pretty late. I believe it was like a late class in which we got out like at 8. And you know, when people would meet me now, or at that moment in time, you know, they would meet me as a person who's blind, right? And so a lot of them wouldn't really know my whole story, right? So they wouldn't know that I could see before and now I can't see, and all that stuff. So, you know, they had a lot of questions, you know, sometimes they were curious, and I didn't mind sharing my story, right? And so I remember one time we were leaving the class, and Zach, he was a bicycle guy, right? I believe he like did marathons and things like that. And one day he's like, Diego, do you know how to ride a bike? And I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, the last time I rode a bike was 2011, but I do know how to ride a bike. At least I think I do, you know, like I don't think you forget how to ride a bike, right? I'm like, it might take me a little bit to learn how to balance myself, but you know, I think I can still do it. And then he's like, do you want to try to ride my bike? And you know, I was like, you know, like a little part of me was like, oh my God, you know, I really want to, you know, like I haven't ridden a bike in so long that, you know, I should try it. And so we kept walking. It was the four of us, and we get to the quad, which is this big open space. I attended, if I haven't said it in any other videos, I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, U of I. And so we get to the quad, which is this big open space with buildings around, and you know, sidewalks and grass space, and you know, there's Wi-Fi. You know, people are usually there during the summertime or when it's nice weather. But anyways, so we get there, and obviously I need somebody to hold my cane because I have my cane on me. So I give my cane to my friend Carlos, and Carlos is like, you know what, Diego, I'm gonna try and, you know, guide myself with the cane. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and try it. I'm like, it's not that easy if you don't know what you're doing, but okay. And so, you know, him and my friend Lisette go off to the side a little bit, and I walk with my friend Zach, right? And then I get on the bike, and my friend Zach's like, do you want the helmet? And I'm like, nah, I think I'll go a little, I want to take a little bit more of a risk. Nah. But anyways, I get on the bike, and you know, as soon as I get on the bike, I start feeling a little bit of anxiety, but at the same time, I have some adrenaline in me, right? And so, you know, I start pedaling, and my friend's kind of trying to guide me, right? So I'm actually on the sidewalk, and to either side of the sidewalk, there's grass, right? And so I'm able to feel, you know, as I'm riding the bike, I'm able to feel when I'm on the sidewalk as well as when I'm in the grass, because, you know, when you're in the grass, it feels more bumpy, and then when you're in the sidewalk, you feel more, you know, smooth. And so I'm able to kind of like guide myself, and I'm trying to stay to the right. That way, you know, if people are coming, they can go on my left. And so Zach's like walking behind me. He's like, Diego, stay to the right because you have people walking on your left. Or he's like, you got two people walking on your left, you know, just wait for them to pass. So I kind of slow down. And as soon as they pass, he's like, Diego, you got like a whole bunch of space in front of you. There's nobody there. And so as soon as he tells me that, I start pedaling and I just dash forward. And you know, for a while I'm going pretty fast, and I like, you know, have all this adrenaline in me, but I'm also kind of scared because I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I really can't see anything. What if there's a garbage can in front of me, or somebody else all of a sudden puffs up or something and I'm gonna crash into them? So then I stop. But it honestly felt super good to be able to ride the bike again. And you know, I was able to ride it all the way to the, before we crossed the street at the end of the quad or whatnot. Obviously he was kind of guiding me a little bit, kind of letting me know, you know, just, you know, stay close to him. The funny part to me though was that on the other side, you see my friend Lisette and you see Carlos, you know, walking with the cane. And so Carlos has his eyes, you know, closed, and he's walking with the cane. And, you know, to me, at first it was kind of funny because I'm like, you know, I wonder what people were seeing, because like, you know, over here Zach's like telling me stay to the left or stay to the right. And you know, I'm riding a bike and it doesn't look like I'm blind, but then there's this guy, you know, with the cane on the side. And so I wonder if people are like, you know, so who's he trying to guide, the blind guy or the guy in the bike? When actually, you know, I was the blind guy. But anyways, you know, I had fun. That was a great time. And, you know, and I think about it and I'm like, you know, if I ever want to ride a bike, I could always probably go to an empty parking lot with a friend, or, you know, something like that, right? Where I'm still able to ride a bike. You know, I'm sure there's other ways of riding a bike and things like that. But, you know, it's something that felt really good after so many years of not riding a bike, to be honest. But anyways, if I can say anything, you know, if you don't know how to ride a bike, you know, and you have the possibility of learning, go ahead and learn. It's a great experience. And if you do know how to ride a bike and, you know, you haven't done it in a while, go do it. You know, go do it, because you never know when you're not going to be able to ride a bike again and you're going to miss it, you know. If you have the opportunity of doing it, you know, like I said, just, you know, try and do it as much as you can. But anyways, those are the stories of today, riding bikes and all that. So, you know, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, again, leave your comments below, or just, you know, want to share anything with me, I'll, you know, gladly read them and try to reply as best as possible. And like always, thank you, and I will have a new video for you guys next week.